Mike Scott, Chicago. Only way to keep calm is trouble wars have a serene mind. Pause for penitentiary. Uh, yeah, today's November 11th. The state wanted people to stay 3 weeks. They're asking people to stay indoors 3 weeks. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. And I guess they almost made $1 billion in Illinois selling marijuana. So, usually what's popular is not right, what's right is not popular. The spirit of greed, greed. So wear the world like a loose garment. The educated man's man, certain spiritual quality which makes him calm in adversity, happy with it alone. So I'm able to weather the storm, weather this world like a loose garment. I got a lot of stuff going on, the madness going around me. But the only way to keep calm in this troubled world is have a serene mind. Happiness is not a result of wealth or luxury, but a spiritual understanding. So I'm glad to be above ground, weather the world like a loose garment. People are running and now don't buy up all the toilet papers because right now people are living in fear. But it's fear. Fear is a dark road to develop negatives. Fear is the curse of the world. Fear is everywhere. I pray to have no fear. And I don't have to live in fear, and because I have a God commands His Son. God can be a shield. No problem work to harm me. So my God is not the White House. I keep my, my God is God. I pray to be calm and let nothing upset me. I pray to not allow those by me spoil my peace of mind. I pray to be calm in the midst of the storms. The same man you see in the car with a mask on, like I said before, the man that got a mask on in his car, he's probably in the house by himself, living in fear, with the mask on, probably might go to bed with the mask on. So don't go to sleep with your mask on, breathe, breathe. Bad breath, better no breath. So weather world like a loose garment, wickedness in the high places, don't, the company you keep is determine the trouble you meet, Talking about social distance, I stayed as Zen monks. I was a recluse, so I'm happy when alone. I don't need a crowd. I got to go opposite the crowd. So alcohol kills 3.2 million people worldwide. Every 10 seconds, alcoholic dies. So this year they made $250 billion off alcohol. It's essential. I don't care if you close the whole world down, they're never going to stop selling this alcohol. Marijuana, there's a billion people hooked on marijuana, so it's essential. Gun shops, now they're broken in gun shop in Chicago. The guns killed 250,000 people worldwide. They're never going to stop selling guns. So we're talking about, and gamble, they legalized gambling. I haven't gambled 31 years. I don't know if the horse named the racetrack. Don't play scratch off. I don't drink root beer. It's cool to be a square. The slow lane is the best lane. So, it's not about sanitizing the hands, about sanitizing the mind. Me trying to be slick made me sick. Trying to be smooth and cool made me a fool. I used to walk around nighttime with dark sunglasses on. Think I was too cool for umbrellas. I used to think I was too cool for umbrellas. What is a compulsion? Compulsion means I'm doing something against my will. What is obsession? It's a thought that blocks out all of the thoughts. 3 days ago, like 5 days ago, the obsession was who win or lose in the White House. That was obsession. People was obsessed with that. That's a thought that blocks all our thoughts. And what's theology? When a person put alcohol or marijuana or cigarettes in their body, they can't stop. Cigarettes are $1 billion business. Billion people are hooked on cigarettes. You jump out the window, you can change your mind. You can't change gravity. Gravity does not change. Gravity never changes. So the abnormal world becomes normal. So Mike Scott, saying glad, like I said, I haven't been on it in a while, but glad to be still above ground. I'm coming up on 62 years old. I've been 62 and and the body must, body has to move half an hour, 5 days a week. I still can move around, stay in action, action. So I pray to be calm and let nothing upset me. Uncalm times are the only times when the evil can find an interest. Uncalm times are the only times when evil can find an interest. How does evil find an interest? It's through worry, anger, and fear. So I ask God every morning, help me be too lost for worry, be too strong for fear, and be too noble for anger. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. Sorrow looks back, worry looks around, faith looks up. If I'm depressed because I live in the past, if I'm anxious because I'm living in the future, if I'm at peace because I live in the moment. So I'm living the moments, I'm on borrowed time. I'm not a dinosaur. A lot of guys I came in the world was dead and gone. A lot of guys I hung out with, they're in the grave. So I'm glad to still be above ground, and I'm happy, the sun is not to shine. Like I said, they can close down the world, but they can't close down God. God is taking care of me in all this and trial and tribulation. Adversity is making man wise. He that cannot endure the bad will not live to see the good. He is wise and endure all the pains of life and still smiles and serenity. Life is a great life is a big question mark. God is a big answer. Whatever the question, he's the answer. No matter how down, up, tired, or strong, be friend or betrayed, all price hurt or happy, rich or broke, famous or unknown, God is the answer to your problems. God is the answer to your problem, not the White House. What is a friend? A friend is a favorite companion, a person know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. I believed in Santa Claus. I found no Santa Claus. So I trust in God. So that's where my defense comes from, God. He's all power. So I'm glad to be above ground, glad to be happy today, weather the world like a loose garment. Let your mind flow. The mind must always be in a state of flowing. For when it stops anywhere, the flow is interrupted. It's this interruption that's injurious to the well of the being of the mind. Flow with whatever may happen, let your mind be free. So I don't put the world news in my head. I don't watch the news. I don't concentrate on that madness. The first fruits of meditation is emotional balance. I get emotional balance. Bhagavad Gita teaches me. It said, one who's not stirred in spite of misery, one is not elated happiness, free from attachment, fear, and anger. That's what Bhagavad Gita talks about. Being steady in happiness and stresses. Good people walks on whatever happens to them. Good people do not yearn for pleasures. The wise not so changes, highs and lows, whether touched by happiness or also by sorrow. It's not what you possess, who you are, the position you hold, where you're located that makes you happy or happy. It's what you think about. You are what you think about all day long as a man thinketh. You are what you think about all day long as a man thinketh, so is he. Our best friends, our worst enemies are our thoughts. A thought could do you good than a banker, faithful friend, or church companion. A thought could do you more harm than a brick. Money is my master. It is not my master. Money is my servant. You can't worship God and money both. If your happiness depends on money, you'll never be happy with yourself. Happiness does not depend on a full pocketbook, but a mind full of rich thoughts and a heart full of rich emotions. Sarah Tinsdale says, I have no riches but my thoughts, yet these wealth are enough for me. Buddha said, what's the use of claiming something is yours when even the moon is used in the public light? The fool says, these are my kids and this is my wealth, when he himself does not own himself. Socrates said, one must worry less about his clothes, hair, and his looks, and nurture more his mind and spirit, with great thoughts contained in books. I used to worry about cars, clothes, and things. I was 18 years old. I had 2 cars, wore Italian-made suits. I was jumping on jets, talking about the cream, always rise to the top. My grandmother always told me, Michael, bird can fly so high, but it must come down to get its food. So if I stay humble, I don't crumble. So it's cool to be a square. It's shaky going up a ladder, it's shaky going down a ladder. Only way I keep my balance, by keeping my 2 feet on the ground. He that cannot endure the bad will not live to see the good. He is wise and endure all the pains of life and still smiles with serenity. King Solomon proverb, you are a poor specimen if you can't stand the pressure of adversity. Those who trust in the Lord are steady as Mount Zion, unmoved by any circumstance. I'm not moved by circumstances or conditions. The wind cannot shake the mountains. Nothing can seriously set you walking with God. So I walk with God. And that's where the peace comes from. Not having bodyguards around me, because when the Lord of death comes, it's time to go. Life unfolds in a great sheet called time, and once finished, it is gone forever. So be the best you can right now. I fed the pigeons today. That's a good deed I did. I fed the pigeons today. So every time the sun rises, think of your life is just beginning. When I go to bed at nighttime, I tell myself, this might be your last day, because one day it will be your last day. I can't buy Payless shoes no more, but I go to another store. I got a DSW. I like that store. So I can buy my shoes today, and I go to bed, and I think to myself, this might be my last day on earth. So I get to live happy every day. So Mike Scott, Paul, people in the penitentiary, I must control my emotions, or my emotions will control me. It's not what happens to me, it's how I take it. So if you can take your troubles as they come, if you can maintain your calm and composure amid pressing duties, unengaged, and rise above disturbing circumstances, you discover Christ's secret of daily living. Even if men go into life as misfortune, handicap, and yet liberty days are coming poised to be denied. They say you achieve the greatest achievement than a person who rules a nation. He who conquers himself is greater who conquers a city. The war is not outside, it's inside war. So I'm glad today that I had that peace. I can be happy when alone. I don't need a crowd. So Mike Scott, Chicago, cool to be a square. Like I say, history repeats itself. So they bringing in the closing the states again, because they're talking about the coronavirus. But like I say, alcohol killed 3.2 million people worldwide every year. They're never gonna close those bars down. I mean those liquor stores down. So I'm glad, like I say, learn that a man is rich in proportion to things he can afford to leave alone. Thank God. I ain't had a beer in 31 years. I saw a beer truck this morning. I haven't smoked a joint in 31 years. I ain't held a gun in 31 years. A lot of things I ain't did in 31 years. So it's cool to be a square. My Scott, because nowadays they're shooting people in the streets. Rappers are getting killed in different streets. Billionaires are gang banging. The billionaires hate each other. And when you hate somebody, you draw that towards you. So it's about being free. So my mind is free. Thank you. Mike Scott, Chicago.